Let me check. I think we are live. Okay, I think we are live. So let me start. Let me start. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining this month's session. So, what we are going to do in this month, let's have a quick discussion and then I'll introduce the speakers and we'll start working on that. Okay, so the first thing is this is the Meetup Group, and as we are conducting sessions since past almost 11 months, we started this group in December or Jan, around Jan time frame, December 26th or Jan time frame. And every month we were conducting one or two sessions, and this is the session which is of today. And we are going to showcase what is the power of Azure SQL, .NET 6 API, Visual Studio 2022, custom connector, and how do you integrate this custom connector using Canvas app. Okay, so we have Aishwarya, Diksha, Humera, Nikhil, and I will be speaking. So we'll go step by step. How do you deploy the SQL project to Azure, and then how do you deploy Web API to Azure App Service, and how do you integrate the connection between SQL database as well as the API, and you don't want to store any connection string on this thing. So you want to go live and store everything in Azure Key Vault. So we'll do that one. So like that, we'll go step by step. We'll go, and then we'll create the custom connectors. So in creation of the custom connectors, also we are doing in two flavors. One is the custom connector which connects to the Web API, .NET 6 Web API, which we did it. That doesn't have any authentication. And the one which we will be using is the currency layer, which is also free API, but it has got a authentication. Then we do create two different Canvas apps, and one Canvas app go talk to the Web API, Professor's Web API, and that has got multi-level gallery. And one is a Canvas app with integrating with the custom connector, which goes and hits the currency layer, and that has got some portion of integration with some portion of integration with the integration with this Power Automate. So we are getting a lot in this. So that's the thing, and the entire source code for this will be here, and we'll also upload some of the instructions we have uploaded, and others you can get it the images here itself. You'll have the images and some other instructions which is there. We'll go and update those instructions here. So please fasten your seatbelt, and let me take one quick minute to introduce our speakers. Let me Humera. She works at AS, and you can unmute and you can introduce yourself, Humera.
So, hi guys, I'm Humera Dahur. You can call me Humera, and I'll be taking on custom connection, connector creation today. And I'll show you how to create custom connectors, one with authentication and one without authentication. So, yeah.
So she's a first time speaker. I'm welcoming Humera onto the speakers world. And let me introduce our next speaker is Diksha Maheta. And she also works at AS, and we all are colleagues. And sometimes I'm feeling that we are doing office meeting live. Okay, in this group, it's not an office meeting, even though we work at AS, we are in different teams. And Diksha is also first time speaker. Welcome, Diksha. You can unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Diksha Maheta. I am from AIS and I'm a software developer. And today I will be showing you how to create the Canvas app out of the Professor API.
Thanks so much. So I will go ahead and start the things. So let me switch to the Azure. So here is Azure Resources. We just created those SQL and Key Vault and application insights, just so that we know that what all the resources are needed for this. So if you correlate with this with the architectural diagram which we created over here, so with that I'll just post it here in the StreamYard, sorry, in this chart, so that you will be able to get it here in the YouTube. You'll have this link. It will publish. Yeah, it will publish that. So it will come in a minute or so. Yeah, you have this link. So anytime you want to go grab it, you can go grab and play with that. And the source code is here. So let me switch to the Azure resources. So here is Azure resources we are creating. We already created just to save the time. So the SQL and the SQL DB, Azure Key Vault, and this is an API app. And Azure Resources naming convention. I'm really sorry if I'm troubling others. This is the site in my every talk I flash this. I really love this site a lot. This particularly this page, because this gives a guidance like how to name the Azure resources. Suppose if you are talking and you're not giving an image, so let's assume that this part of the world you are covering, this part of the world you're not showing at all. And seeing this itself, if we maintain a convention, all the cross team members, they will understand. So this is something like an app service, this is application insight, this is Key Vault, this is SQL server, this is SQL database. So by naming convention itself, we all will speak the same language. If we start creating my web app, your Key Vault, their SQL server, so it troubles others to understand what is my Key Vault and my web app. But the name we give will speak with others. So if you say KV hyphen college hyphen 001, okay, we can understand. Okay, this is a Key Vault call. It belongs to some project, college, or something. Like you can add hyphen dev or hyphen QA, hyphen test, hyphen stage, so that it communicates very clearly what is this resource and what is the intention of these resources. And apart from that, one more tip is just add the tags. So that definitely helps others to understand who's the lead or the group with which you can communicate. Like some Key Vault is there, so others want to reuse the Key Vault, or they like something, they want to know more about that, or it's getting built, they want to find out who is the team who has created this Key Vault, do they have permission, or why are we getting charged. So for multiple reasons, so please ensure that you are having. So now let's go and see what is this server. Azure, this one, college SQL as a SQL server. And we have the databases. I mean, this is the introduction, and we'll be doing a series of Azure related tech talks every month, inviting different speakers, whoever would like to come and join and to share their knowledge will use that. So this is a SQL server, and it has got one database. So we'll go through the database, and I want to connect to this database. So while going, what I'm planning is I will plan to learn the things hard way. That means every step will get hit black and blue. So then only we'll learn things. So first we'll try to connect to this SQL server. I'm using Azure Data Studio, which is one of the wonderful tool I really love using this, and it has got a serious benefits. And I really love adding this. I'm trying to add a new connection to our SQL server. So this connection is a SQL server. I can connect to Postgres also, that we will do in future episodes. And authentication type is you can connect to your Active Directory, or you can have your Windows authentication or SQL server. I'm saying I will connect to the SQL server demo user, and sample at the rate $123. That's the password, and the group is I have to connect. That's the group where I have created all the resources, and I'm saying connect. So this guy will go try to connect. It's spinning. It will not be able to connect it. So what it says is your client IP address does not have access to this server. That means it says that my client IP is 49.37.149.64. So how can I be sure that that's my IP address? So I can go here, what is my IP address. I can go type this, what is my IP address. This is IP6 it is giving. I want to know about IP4. You can select that. That's an IP6 which was flashing it there, and it says that 49.37.149.64. So that's my IP which it says that. Okay. So now let's come back to the SQL here, and let's see what kind of things which we have given, so that it is protecting us. So one of the things is disallow we are not allowing anyone to come and hit this. So that's the kind of security we have given, so no one else can come and connect it to this one, no matter whether you are in Azure or you're on premise or anywhere, none. So if you come and see the firewalls and virtual network rules here, we said that deny public network access. That is yes. That means no one can come and hit this. Even though I give my credentials and other things to you, you can't able to come and hit it. And the TLS version is 1.2. That's the latest one. And the connection policy is default. And allow Azure services and resources to access the server. We said no. That means we'll come back once we deploy the API. When we try to connect it to this one, it will not allow us. We'll see what to do. Let's think of crossing the river when river comes. Okay. Now, right now it says that that's IP. I said that add client IP, and I am going to save this. So that's the first thing we are doing. We are punching the hole in the firewall. This is not a good thing, but as this is a demo, I'm just showing you what kind of security things are in place and how I'm bypassing it. But please don't do that, and you will never have access to do that. But I'm just showing you it's fully secured. So I just punched a hole in the firewall. Now I will come back to this one and I ask it to connect it again. So now it's trying to connect it. The college DB, it was able to successfully connect. And see this has got a nice, you can group those servers, those connections, and color coding, serious stuff, guys. So let's go and see that now it is able to connect, and you see that master and college DB, there are two things are there. So let's go and connect to this college DB and see do we have any tables or anything else in that. So we don't see anything. So at this point of time I will create a new query. So here it shows what database you want to select, and I'm going to select this. And right now I don't have any tables. I'm just keeping it there. So the next thing is we have to deploy. There are multiple ways to deploy. This SQL database. One of the way we are doing is this one. Okay, so let's come back to this. We'll discuss. Here is the source code, and this is Visual Studio 2022. I really started loving this a lot, and it's a good thing. So we have a couple of tables here. We have products, professors, and students table, and let's see what is there in the professors table. I need a glass of water. Thanks. So we have this nice visual view where you can create the things visually, or you can write. If you're a scripting kind of guy, you can go and type it, and else you can go and add that. through the visual designer. So we have few defaults. New GUID, this is a unique identifier is a GUID, and date time we are having today, and default rating is 2.5. So the couple other tables. This is student table, and we have foreign key. So professor's ID is mapping to this professor's ID, and one is for the products is that we have a product ID, name, product code, release date, price, description, star rating, and image URL. There are a couple, a simple thing. In future session when we do, we'll add the post deployment scripts where it goes and deploys the default content which should exist as part of the project or solution. And you can do it through the EF core or any other mechanism. We'll learn how to do it in this one. So once that is done, what we have to do is we have to select that college DB project and make it as an default, set as startup project. Then we go to the project setting. And here the target platform, it says that the target platform, it says that this is trying to deploy to SQL Server 2016 on premise. And we want to deploy that to SQL Azure. That's the first setting we need to change. Okay. And the next thing is we need to come back to the debug, and that's where we can go and click on edit, and we'll click on edit and come back and start keying in this credentials where I'm going to go and give it to the college and demo user and sample at the rate $123, and I'm doing a test connection. We'll come back to the database, guys, in a moment. First, let's ensure that we are able to connect it to that particular server. Okay, so it is connecting. Might be the database name. I should have removed it. I'm sorry for that. So I removed the database. So right now it goes and tries to connect it just to the server. It doesn't use the database. So we are able to successfully connect. And now I can go back to the drop down list, and it goes and populates. We can select that SQL Server DB and click on OK. Okay, once that is done, so what we can do is we can just click on start, or we can right mouse click and start from there. I just click on start. So the moment we start, what happens is it first compiles the available source code, and it ensures that it is in a compilable state. That means we are deploying that to the Azure, and it don't want any kind of damage to be happened. So first thing, it goes and it compiles and ensures that all the code is in a compilable state, and then it creates. Okay, in the meanwhile, we'll go to the SQL in Azure, and we'll see that. Let's come to the overview here. So here the tier pricing tier is basic. That means it has got only 2 GB of space. Okay, 2 GB of space, and it has got a defined DTOs, so it can't go more than that. So we can expect, because this is just for a sample or hello world of the project. So definitely we are using a very small. We don't want to get build too much. Okay, so let's come back to this query editor. This has got a default query editor, which I can use it if you want to probe and you're in the browser and you want to do some kind of verification or analysis here, you can pretty much do here. So same thing which we can connect it from the same thing we can connect it from the Azure Data Studio. Apart from this, you can connect it from the Visual Studio 2019 or Visual Studio 2020. It has got that feature, and you can use SQL Server Management Studio and SQL command. There are a host number of options we have to connect it. At least we are seeing three flavors. One is through the Azure Data Studio, one is through Visual Studio 2022 or 2019. You can do it anything you want, and you can use the SQL Server Management Studio. Different options you have. Okay, and let it deploy, and then let's go step by step and learn something. So it will create a .sql file. I would like to show you that. In the meanwhile, let's go and wait there here in this debug. I I want to wait here. So it's slowly creating the artifacts. It has created the DLL, and it has created the PDB files, program debug stuff, and it has also created the DACPack file. So now it creates the SQL file, which gets executed when it is deploying. So incrementally, you add any columns or delete any columns or change the column type. You do different things. So everything will get tracked, and the differential thing gets applied over there. So we'll see that in a moment. Uh, uh, let's give it a extra minute. Okay, I think it will come. In the meanwhile, let's come and discuss something. We'll just to save some time. I just want to go and discuss something on the web APIs. I just want to do a live thing instead of me creating everything and tell that throw a slide and say that, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. That looks like a black box. Like what is happening, we don't know. Now we are doing everything in live, so it makes more enjoyable. Okay, something is happening there. We can go and see that. Select star from. So the tables are not yet done. It didn't start the deployment. Okay, let's wait on that. That should be fine. So in the meanwhile, let's come to the API. So this is the another resource which we do have created. And application insights, we are not going to discuss anything, but I just want to show that this is one of the good feature where we have to use it when we are using anything. When we deploy something, we just definitely need logs, what is happening behind the scene, and how many errors are being thrown. For everything, we definitely need it. And there are a couple of things I would like to show at this point of time. If I go and click on this API, it shows a default page. It shows this default page. Someone can ask, hey, Swami, who is providing this default page, and how can I know that? So for that, what we can do is we can click on this app service editor and click on go. And once you click on go, it comes to a service editor. And also I would like to go to the kudu console and keep myself ready instead of we waiting on that. We'll come back to this by the time. Okay, now you can see that it has created this SQL data store, and you can see that extra file. You can open that in Notepad++ or whatever the tool you want to use. You can use that, and you can pretty much see that it shows that what is the SQL which is getting executed on the server side. You can probe deep into that to find out what else it is doing. So this is an extra knowledge we are learning on this one. Okay, that's how it gets deployed. Now what we can do is let's try this from multiple places. I can come here and processes and do run. That should, can see that right now it has created products, professors, and students. So right now we have this three tables, and here you can see that it is clearly telling that what it is doing. It says that what different constraints it has added and what tables it is creating, and all those things it is doing. I just want to do a real quick redeploy while we are discussing on something else. Okay, let's come back to this, and here you can see that hosting start. So this is the file which Microsoft is providing us by default. So you can see that every content whichever is coming, it is coming from here. So as a tradition, without we doing hello world, the things is not complete. So let's start uh, hello world on 13 November 2021. Tick tick. I did save this file, and now I come back and do refresh to this page. So the entire content is gone, and now we are seeing this hello world of things. Oh, good, that's good. So we were able to, now we have followed the tradition of doing hello world before we proceed further on the project. That's pretty good. Let it deploy, let it take its own time. I would like to show a few other things over there. So that we have seen the Kudu console as well as this Kudu console we didn't see. We'll come and see that I'm using it for the investigation. We'll face a lot of problems. Let's go and investigate step by step. And let's go and see the configuration. What is the configuration of this app service? Uh, so let's see that configuration. It takes little time. When specifically I'm coming to this particular tab, it takes a little bit of time. I don't know why, but we can come and check this general settings. We are using .NET 6. So you can fall back to .NET Core 3 or from .NET 5 onwards. We are calling it as .NET uh, and we are using a unified name. We are not saying that .NET Framework or .NET Core. It's just .NET 5 and .NET 6 and a few other things you can get deep into that to see the TLS HTTP2 also available, which gRPC needs HTTP2. So when we come and discuss about the gRPC, we'll see that. And here you can see that hosting start HTML. So when we went here into the default page, what we saw that the content is coming from the hosting start. So you can see that has been configured as part of the default document. So when we go and hit this FQDN, it goes and tries, does that folder has got any of these files? So we can come to the Kudu console and we can check that pretty much here inside this folder, dub root. So that's home, and I need to go to the site and this dub root, and you can see this hosting HTML. I can modify from here, but we will definitely not have access onto this SCM. But I'm just want to show you internals, how it happens and other things, right? So another thing I want to show is the properties of this. We have a virtual IP and we have inbound and outbound IPs. We definitely need this. I just want to keep it aside at this point of time. We'll come back. Now we'll see that. So did you see the difference when I'm doing an deployment? Once I did the first deployment, it clearly says that I'm creating A, I'm creating B, I'm creating C. It was mentioning all the tables or anything it was doing, it was explicitly calling it out. Now, when we did the redeployment, it didn't go and deploy those tables again. Tables or foreign keys or constraints, whatever it is. Until unless I go and modify, add a column or a delete a column or a change, I do any change to the database, the differential things will get updated. So please note that the differential things will get updated. Okay, that's from the data store perspective. Let's go to the API. I don't want to save anything. Undo the changes. I undo the changes, and now let's go back to the API. Okay, so this is a simple API where we're following the traditional three layers, layered architecture, where we have entities and common, we have the constants and interfaces. Sometime we'll discuss very deep dive session and Jan or Feb we have on that API. But for this month's session, we'll stick to the game plan that we have different layers, and this is the SQL DB context. That's EF Core 6. EF Core 6. You can see that EF Core 6, and we have the DB context, and here we have the professor DAL, and we have a single method get all professors. It goes and gets the content from the professors. So we'll take a minute on this to see what is that. Oh, it's not this. Where did I keep that? This one. So you see this slide, you have a data store, maybe the SQL Server or MySQL or whatever the data store, Cosmos or ABC or a simple file or I don't know, whatever it is a data store. So you have a middle tier and you have a front end. Front end could be like a Blazor, Wasm, Angular, React.js, Vue.js, and razor pages, or simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It could be anything. And this is DMZ, and you come to the middle tier, and middle tier could, we can use an API or a gRPC, and then that goes and hits the business logic layer, and the core is the one which is very common to all these different layers, and that business logic layer hits the data access layer, and data access layer uses the DB context, goes and gets the content, and it comes all the way this side. So I just wanted to show that slide to understand things better. And some of the security tips perspective. So if you come and see this, we have a very simple controller, and I really like the program.cs. Previously we used to have a program.cs as well as the startup cs, where we used to use the startup cs to start from the program cs. Now it has reduced the number of work. Right now it is only the program.cs. We can configure everything in the program.css. Sorry, program.cs. You can see this create builder, and then we are opening up the policies to hit it from everywhere. We are configuring the connection string, and we are configuring the application dependencies and controls, and everything is coming in here. So out of this, one of the thing what we are trying to do is we are getting the connection strings, because we need to get the connection string. So previously it used to be, we used to inject I configuration. So right now we are not doing the injection of I configuration. That the builder, whatever we create the builder, we can go and access the connection string directly from the builder itself. Just if you want to see the difference how it was in the previous .NET 5 and .NET 6, how the things has changed. I just want to do a quick diff between both. Okay, and here we definitely need the connection string, where to go and hit it. So we use the app settings, that will be environment specific, like app settings, dev, app settings, test, QA, stage, or prod, or anything. It could be different app settings file. So what if I'm investigating or debugging an issue which is getting in the production environment or a staging environment? So let's assume I'm doing it on Friday evening, and I use the connection string of the stage and punch the hole in the firewall so that I go and hit that SQL, and I do fix the bug. I check in the code. The moment I check in the code, this is also as part of the repository. So right now the stage connection string, which was secret, now it is no more a secret. By Monday morning when I come, that can be on the board saying that, hey Swami, the connection string for the staging database is this. This is a username, this is a password. Now entire world knows that. So it's one of the way how can we handle that is we can use the manage user secrets. So what is the benefit of this manage secrets is I'm saving my connection string here, and when I go and open the containing folder, it doesn't fall under my repository where the code is there. It is outside the code. So even though I store the connection strings of production or whatever the database it is, it will not get checked in. Even if I'm in hurry, I want to go home, I check in and run away. But this connection strings are safe until unless someone sees this on from my shoulder, they might get it. But apart from that, it is on my machine until unless I leak it. Somehow someone sneaked into my machine and steal it. That's a different story. But apart from that, it's a bit of security that not storing this connection string. But we have to have the block so that our team members or the people who deploy, they definitely know that what connection strings or what application settings it needs it for this application to run. Okay, so let's keep this over here, and that's the one tip which I wanted to give. And let's see how it used to happen in .NET 5 and how it is happening in .NET 6. So this is .NET 5, and the version which we are doing right now is this .NET 6. So in .NET 5 we used to have the program.cs, and in the program.cs we create the host builder, and to that host builder we are giving the startup class. So you can come to this startup class, where again you get this I configuration that gets dependency injection inside this constructor, and we use the dependency injected constructor of that I configuration. You can use this configuration to go grab this connection string. So different things we used to do in, see this configuration and app settings connection string, we used to go grab it. So that's little different. Now, one more tip here is, if you come to this program.cs and place the mouse on that configure web host defaults. So that means what it is happening is it configures that Kestrel, and it gets the iWeb host environment, and it goes the hosting filter and all those things. And if you see this create default builder, so what is happening when it creates the builder? So it sets that IOST environment, and it goes and grabs any of those variables with .NET underscore, and it grabs any of the command line we supply, and it also it goes and grabs the app settings JSON and app settings environment specific. Like in our example, we see that app settings JSON and app settings development JSON, like that, any number of JSONs. So it is the duty of this, and also it goes and grabs the secrets.json also apart from this. So see that user secrets. So now that we understand that even though we don't explicitly call out that, hey, go and grab the things from these JSONs, that is by default they are providing all these things. So here also similarly, if you come into program dash, this is a simplified version of that. I mean, if I go and click on this guy, let's wait here, and if I expand this, you can see that something similar will definitely happen here also in .NET 6. In fact, they're making our lives easy. Um, oh, if you come here, so that's a create builder. And web application builder, let's go to the documentation of this. Um, I could have stored it. I'm sorry, I didn't save that one. But something similar, they will go and do it and load all those things. When whatever is there in .NET 5, they will definitely add something more than that, but they don't detect it for sure. So similarly, when we do the default builder, it does take the responsibility of loading all these things. So that's how it loads the connection string. So one small tip was to have these blocks in your app settings JSON, but please use the secrets.json to maintain the secrecy. Okay, I'm closing all the tabs. Now the step 2 is we need to go and deploy this one. We need to go and publish it. I just want to, I'm doing everything manually so that, I want to show that internals, what happens internally. Okay, so now uh, I'll come back to this Azure portal, and I go get the publish profile. I can type, I want to go grab this guy, the publish profile. I am coming back to my Visual Studio. Let me go and delete all these things. Okay, so now we are adding the publish profile, and here we are saying that import a publish profile. So I click on next and go browse it and go grab this one, whatever we have done. So click on finish. So that brings in the publish profile, and it gets all the credentials, which subscription, everything will be here. So what we can do is additionally click on the show all settings and go back to the connection tab and click on validate. So this guy will go and validate the connection from our local machine to Azure website, whatever we are going to deploy right now. Okay, then I click on save, and what I do is I just click on publish. The moment I do publish, it will start publishing. We can monitor at different places. We can monitor either in the output tab, or we can do it here in this in this publish. So it's doing, the build has started. So once it starts publishing. You can see that this guy has just started this, and they have compiled all those layered things, and it started publishing. You can see that one of the good thing, it will be for a fraction of second. Let's go there. And here, if I go and refresh, see this app offline. This is what we used to do, site under construction. We used to do in 2015, 16, and 17, when we used to work on that virtual machines, go deploy that. We do the app routing. When anyone comes to that site, it says that app offline, site under construction. And it's behind the scenes, it's deploying. So these are pretty much an internal things. Just wanted to share with you guys so you know what, if we are doing something on our private data centers, you need to do something. Definitely, you guys will be doing it, no doubt on that. Just wanted to show some kind of internals. That's how it's. If someone tries to reach the site, I think it should show the site under construction. Anytime sooner, it might deploy and start showing. Okay, I think the deployment is done. Yes, I missed the chance. The deployment is done. So that's the reason it didn't show. If not, for a fraction of a second, it will definitely. And the moment the deployment is done, those guys will those guys will go and those guys will go and remove that file also. You can see that the file is gone at this point of time. So now we will try to access this API slash professors. So we deploy this. We deployed everything, and it is not working. Oh, that's good. So this is giving us an opportunity to go and start our investigation skills. So we'll come back to that over here. There are multiple ways to do. So one of the ways is we'll go to this log files, and inside that there is event log. Just go and click on this event log. So when you go and click on that event log and you come here, it says that the SQL connection string, the initialization string does not conform to specific starting index, whatever it is telling, but net it is telling that it could not find the connection string. Okay, what is this event log file is? It's the same file when you go to event viewer on your machine. It's the same thing. It is publishing it here. Another way you can do the investigation is you can come to the streaming logs here, and you can keep a watch on that. What is happening? We are not at done. We are far from done. There are a few other steps. I just wanted to show you the hardware and internals, what is happening behind the scenes, so that you can prepare a proper strategy when you are working on this one. Let's hit it another time so that we'll know that the problem exists. So let's come back to this. You see that it is throwing the thing. It says that from Professor Dal, from this controller, it went to the BLL to DAL. So that's what we discussed. From the controller, it goes to the BAL to the DAL. You're seeing the hierarchy, how it goes. Okay, and also it's telling the same thing that, hey guys, I'm not able to find the connection string. That's good. We know that we didn't provide that. So I will use my secret password, sample at the rate $123, and I will copy this and come back to the configuration over here. I'll come back to the configuration, and we need to go and create it, because when you come and see this, that's under connection strings block. It's not under app settings, it's under connection strings. So don't create it under the application settings block. It should be under the connection strings block. So you just create that. Okay, we pasted it. And what should be the name of this connection string? The name of the connection string is collegedb connection string. Okay, and that is SQL Azure. It's not the SQL or a SQL Server or Postgres or a custom. It is SQL Azure. Then you click on OK and save. Now all is well. It's like a 50% of the world piece. It's not a entirely world piece. It's just a 50% of the world piece. I told we are far from done. So now we see the connection string is there. That is a true connection string. We used it in this Azure Data Studio. everything is there, but it doesn't give this. Let me go back to this. In the starter files, I have given some professors. Let me grab these professors and execute it here. So we have three professors, and I'll be adding more professors. Okay. So it is adding the students also. Good. Let it add. And now that we have the connection string, everything is there, all is well. Now we expect to see the content, but we will not. So we executed this and it is spinning, but it is not showing. So let's go back to that live log stream to see that are we getting any clue. So let's do that. And again, I click on that and oh God, I just closed it. Okay, no problem. Let's wait here and click on that and see that it again it throws some exceptions. And if you carefully look into this, what it is saying, it is saying that yeah, DB connection somewhere over here, exception outmatched, and the connection, DB connection. Yeah, see this. Here it says that cannot open server so and so from 20.49.104.40. Hey, whose IP is this? Okay, so that's next question we can ask ourselves. Hey, whose IP is this? Who is this guy? We already punched the hole in the firewall, giving our own IP. Whose IP is this? Okay, that is our own IP. That means this web API's IP. We went to the properties. Before that, we went to the properties of this. Where did the properties go? There you go. So that's the properties here, and you see the outbound IPs. I'll copy all the outbound IPs, and if I type it, you see that 20 here. You can see 20.49.104.40. That means this Azure service is trying to reach the SQL server. So what we have to do is again we need to come in here and punch the hole in the firewall. Like I could have enabled this. That means anyone in this world who's having an Azure service can come and hit my SQL server. Now I'm saying that only this particular at this point of time, this IP, tomorrow if it changes, I need to do it, or I need to add those bunch of IPs. So I'm saying that college web API. That's the college web API. Now I'm punching the hole in the firewall. One is my home address and one is this guy. So now when we go and there you go. Now we are seeing that. Now I can come back to this one because this has got a beautiful JSON viewer tool. Just wanted to see that Muhammad Azim and Matthew Phillips and Shiva Sai. I'll add more records while Humera and Diksha. While Humera is creating the connector, I will have a time to um, go ahead and add this more extra rows or extra content. So that's good. And now the next question is I have this connection string here. I have this the connection string over here. Now, how do I access this connection string? I can go ahead and add it to the key vault, but seeing the time, it's already 48 minutes. My cap was only 35 minutes. I think I will hand off the control to Humera because I can go ahead and do that one also. That might be a little bit of um, time consuming thing. So at least to a decent extent, this is coming. So what I will do is I'll take this professor's thing and I will go and add it to the stream here. Okay. So Humera, back to you.
Thanks, Swami.
I'm sorry I overstepped for 10 minutes. I thought of to hand it off by to 40. Chalo, thank you so much, Shumera.
Okay, so hi folks.
One
I'll
second,
just
I will. Could you please share your screen? I will stream it.
yeah,
Then I will pull myself off. I'll be in the backstage. So anytime you need any assistance, just give me a shout. Okay.
yeah, cool.
Uh, okay. We are able to see. I pull out of the stream, but I'll be on. Humera, you
So
can go ahead.
I'll just continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hi folks. So I just copied this URL and I have a group open over here. So sec. There we have it. So this is the API which Swami has created. And okay, so before we go forward, I'll just tell you that we are going to now see how the Power Platform empowers us and how we're able to leverage these tools, and to connect to this API and build amazing Canvas apps on it. So like custom logic. Okay, coming to custom logic, until now it's still being developed and mostly as like plugin or workflow assemblies, and the entire process speaks purely of dev skills that's required. So like what do you mean by this connector, right? So custom connectors are nothing but they're just a way to wrap your business logic in a container and present it to the business user's consumption just by like a simple click, drag and drop interface. And if you've worked with Power Apps before, so you will know, you must have seen this, must be familiar with this screen. So these are nothing but the connectors to various apps that perform specific actions within those apps. And you can use them as triggers and actions in the Power Apps and Power Automate. So Power Apps and Power Automate have a native access to two types of connectors, which are pre-built. One is standard and premium. But what if you want your very own custom made connector apart from the 325 plus connectors already available in the Power Platform? So, like while Azure Logic Apps, Microsoft Power Automate, uh, Microsoft Power Apps offer like these many connectors to connect to Microsoft and non-Microsoft services, you may want to communicate with these services that aren't available as pre-built connectors. So custom connectors address this issue, this scenario, and they allow you to create and even share these connectors and having its own triggers and actions. So custom connectors are basically like a wrapper around a web API, a REST or SOAP API, or Azure Functions or Azure Web Apps, and they can be public or private. If they are public, like Spotify, Slack, Rackspace, etc., that you can manage, and if they are private, that means they are visible to your network. So you can also create for those and use maybe an on-premises data gateway and all. So I can show you the life cycle. Yeah, so this is the how the custom connector is just a kind of visualization. So you can use them in Power Apps or Power Automate or Logic App and all. And yes, so these are the list of all Power Apps connectors that we have. As you can see, long list. And yeah, this is how the life cycle looks like. So first we have to build our custom connector, and we need to give some security for it, right? Because we don't want to leave our APIs unauthenticated. So like there's some prerequisites before you start building your custom connector. Like one is you need to have a subscription for your Power Apps and Power Automate, and then you also need some API key. So like for any cognitive service text analytics API, such like that. So you will see like, so this is how these are some links. I'll be sharing them in the chat later. So let's go ahead. And so yeah, here I am at the homepage of the Power Apps. And if I just go into Dataverse on the left side navigation and click on to custom connectors. So yeah, here I'll have a list of all connectors that I have. And when I want to go ahead and create a custom connector, there's so many ways, right? You can create from scratch, from an Azure service, from an open API, Postman collection, GitHub, etc. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to be creating two connectors. One is a connector which has API key based authentication, and we are going to be looking in, I mean, making that connector for some currency layer API. So before we start going into this, let me tell you briefly about what this currency layer API is. So, so this is you can find this on the net. So this is a currency layer. You can just sign up free. This is just for your exchange rates and conversions and all. So I have signed up for a basic plan here, just free of cost. So I'll just sign in. I already have set up my account. So yeah, as you see, as soon as I signed in, I have a dashboard where I have my API access key. You can also reset it, and it guides you how the API request can be made and all. So in this endpoint, you see we are able to give currencies and convert it. And yeah, this is about my plan details. If you move, let's move to documentation. So this gives you an overview. Okay, so basically, let me tell you what this API key is. So, like using API keys is a way to authenticate an application, accessing the API without referencing an actual user. Okay, so the app adds the key to each API request, and the API can use that key to identify the application and authorize that request. Now, the benefit is relative simplicity and ease. Yeah, but the drawback, however, is that it only identifies uh, u- uh, the application, but not the user of the application. So it's quite difficult to keep that secret. So you have other options in security while setting up your security segment of this custom connector. You'll be seeing that later on. So yeah, so let me tell you. So this one was the API. I already have it open. So basically, the endpoint is live, and I'm just going to append the access key, as you can see here. And this is my response. You see, I have a quotes object, and I have all the currencies and the values, and it's converting all this according to 1 USD, as equivalent of 1 USD. You see almost 267 currencies in here. And there's another endpoint list. So this just gives the abbreviation of this currency, the full form, what it means. Okay, yeah. So we also have even more endpoints available in this. These are all the endpoints. The one which we'll be using for this demo is for the live exchange rate of the currencies. You also have historical exchange conversion from like single currency to another source to a destination currency, and you can also specify the amount, and you can also get the currency rates for a specific time frame. You can also change currency parameters in percentages, etc., like different margins and all. So these are the all endpoints. You can explore them on your own. So yeah, I guess so. Now we will be using this URL and creating our custom connector. So I'll first create a custom connector for my currency layer. Okay, so I'll just give it a demo layers. Let me just name it. I think I just need to reload this page. Maybe. Yeah, okay, so finally. So this custom connectors, these I've already created it in the past, and I'll just create them again live. So demo currency layer. So yeah, so I just give the name demo currency layer. And here we have 5 sections over here: general, security, definition, code preview, and test. So let's go one by one. So the first one, general. So this is the general information, pretty easy to understand. Okay, so yeah, I have some logos saved. So I'm just gonna give this that logo. And if you want, you can also give a background color and give a good description. If you want to know more about how, what are the specific coding standards in going through this custom connector process, I have another link, coding standards. I'll be sharing that as well. So yeah, let's give this. So reliable currency exchange rates. And I'm gonna, since my connection is not secure, so I'll select HTTP, and I'm going to be going back, and just a sec. Oh yeah, where is my, yeah. I'll just add my host URL. I'm not going to be giving the whole endpoint and the access key here itself. So yeah, I guess I'm right. Yeah. Okay, then moving to security. So yeah, this was the section I was talking about earlier. So you have all these methods for authentication. It's preferred for the, like the recommended one is the OAuth. Let's go for API key since we are dealing with this. And here's your access key. So let me just give my parameter label as API key and parameter name access key. And this is going to go in the query. And let's move to definition. So in this part, we are able to define the actions that we want to perform on this API. So I'm just going to click new action, and see, this is all showing up. I've tested out this connector in the past. So, okay. So you need to give a good summary. So let's say for this, like get currency rates, and this operation retrieves list of currency exchange rates. Okay, and I'll just give get currency rates. This is my operation ID, and I'll just set the visibility to none so that it's visible to anyone. And coming to request. So in this part, we basically need to describe the request. And since we are going to be retrieving that body, so we need to just select get. And I'm just going to copy the whole URL over here as it is. Okay. Get rid of this import, right? And coming to the response. So this defines the shape of the response. You can see, let's just click into add default response, or you can also just click onto this default. So here you are. We can just arrange this again. So this is the default response. And if you're going to click import from sample, and if you're just going to show copy paste this entire response. Okay. Our platform was built to empower, so it's so easy. So I have each currency value, all the payload, it automatically readjusts, and you can see my validation has succeeded. So I am done with the definition part. So I will just quickly select create connector here. Yeah, so looks like there is an error. Okay. So let me tell you something about the code preview step. So this is an optional step.
it's for the custom code support. Like, it transforms the request and the response payload beyond the scope of the existing templates which we have. And these transformations will send external requests to fetch additional data if you want. And when are you gonna when you're gonna give this code over here, when you're gonna upload this file or write this code over here, it will not send the request to the backend. So there are some requirements. If you want to go ahead with this, you need to write it in C sharp and have a maximum execution time, have that file for 5 seconds, and it can't be more than 1 MB size. So this is an optional step, so we will ignore this for now. Let's move to the test. So whenever you want to test an operation with a custom connector, you need to create a new connection, or maybe if you have already an existing connection in place, you can use that. So what this connection over here is doing is, whenever I'm going to create a connection, see, it'll prompt me to enter my API key. So I'll go back to my Cadencilia account and just copy this, and I'll just paste this. Hit create. So it creates a connection for me. Over here, you see in the connections, this one, I have a connection. Sorry, this, yeah. And custom connector, go back to my connector. Okay, see, it tells me that I've created it today. So I'll just select this and hit test operation. So you can see the response over here. This is exactly what I want, right? And moving on, when this custom connector will be used in the Power Apps and in the Power Automate, you'll see how this response will be utilized and how we can call this response JSON in our Power Apps and Power Automate. So yeah, this was for the authenticated connector. Let's move on and create another connector, this time with no authentication. So this will be my demo, Professor AI connector. Okay, so this will be even easier now, quicker. So I have another logo to come here. So yeah, I can also give background color, write your hex code here. So this API gives you a list of professors and their details, student information. So close this. Let's move to the professor API. So since this is a secured connection, so I'm going to select HTTPS and yes. So I'm just going to copy the host part of this. And in my base URL, I'll just give this API/professors. Okay, because I want to hit this part, this API. Now I'll select no authentication, move to definition, and let's move to add an action to get the professor details. So get professors. This operation retrieves professor details. You can also specify the details, since we are getting these all details: the ID, the name, date of joining, teaches which subject, salary, if he's a PhD, he or she is a PhD or not, rating, and each professor has a student, as you can see. So we want to see this in the response. So I'll just give an operation ID, get professor, and my visibility is set to none. Okay, this is also a get, and I'll just copy this URL. Okay, cool. Let me add my response. It's very simple, You can create as many connectors as you want. It's so fun to use Power Platform. What really empowers us is this low code environment. Okay, so see, you see the body, you have the date of joining, is PhD, name, professor ID, rating, salary, teachers, etc. So we can just call this as properties either in our Canvas apps or automate. So yeah, since we are done with the response and my validation has succeeded, so I'm just going to create the connector before I can test it. So yeah, so I was talking about the code segment. So you can complete this codeless experience and create your connector even without opting this step. And okay, let's wait for this to save. Okay, good. Um, let's move to test. And here, since I have not given any authentication, so it just prompts me to create a connection. You can see that logo. Okay, here you can see this was the demo currency layer 5 minutes ago, and this was the connection we made to this connector. So these connections are saved and they will store that authentication detail in that. Okay, yeah, moving to our test segment. So my connection is in place and I'll test this operation. So you see I have defined this behavior for this API. You are getting the body as expected. And now Aishwarya and Diksha will show you how we can use this custom connectors in our Power Apps and Power Automate. And you can see how this end-to-end, how it's integrated, starting from Swami and ending in the app. So that's it from my side, folks.
Hey, thanks, Humera. It was a wonderful session, seriously. And it's a good, I mean, like we are showing the entire solution live. Like
Exactly.
we just created a resources and then we started publishing the SQL and then API. Then I give the control back to you and you develop some uh, two connectors and you're giving it back to Diksha and Diksha do something and give it to Aishwarya and she does Canvas app and Power Automate. It's like we are building entire solution, but we belong to different teams or different streams of the work, and that's really wonderful. I'm sure that folks are also enjoying and learning something new. So that's good. Thanks so much. And let me introduce Aishwarya Sharma. She is a new speaker and she's also a first time speaker. Aishwarya, do you want to introduce for a moment?
So, hello everyone. So, I'm Ishwarya Sharma, and I'll be taking like how we can create Canvas apps and use the custom connector that just Humera spoke about. Like, I'll show you how we can use it in Canvas apps. Over
And
to you,
also the
Diksha.
Power Automate
Yes,
too. Yeah,
yes.
you're missing the key
Over to
piece.
you,
Thanks.
Diksha.
Diksha, you can take over. You can. We'll all be in the backstage. Humera, Ishwarya, and me will be in the backstage. And please share your screen and give us a shout. We'll be back.
Yeah. Okay. So now I will be creating.
I'll be jumping out, but I'll be in the backstage. I'm sorry. You can take over, Diksha.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, sure. So now I will be creating this application. So this is a Canvas application within the Power Apps, and I will be creating this application out of the API, Professor's API that Humera has just created into a custom connector, and we will see how this app and this UI can be implemented. So so for the start, we need to come to this make.powerapps.com portal. And here we need to go to the apps section. And in the app section, we will create a new application. And since we are here to develop a proper UI and everything, so we will be using the Canvas application. professor details canvas application. So we have two form of canvas apps. One is in the tablet format and another is in the phone format. So let's go ahead with the tablet format for now. Now this designer will give us a proper designer, which will be providing some features and some properties to develop the canvas application. So this starts with a blank screen. So this is a screen one. Let us rename this to home screen. And on the screen, we will be creating the whole application. But first of all, let us connect to the data. So for connecting to the data source, we need to come here and we need to click on the add data. Here we have multiple type of connectors and multiple type of data sources. Like if I want something from Excel, I have that. If I want something from Outlook, yeah. So there are many connectors, but for now we will be connecting with the professor's connector. So this will connect to the custom connector that is just created, and we will be able to fetch data out of this. So let's get back to the home screen here on the app. So this is basically on this interface. These are the all properties of a particular control or a screen or something that we are using in this application. And here are the extra data addition or other controls that we need to add. So for now, let's go to the app, and this is the app settings, and we need to go to the on start property of this app. And in this on start, basically we will be adding. So here we will be adding the custom connector. And this is the connector that I have just connected as a data source. This is the app, like the function that Humera created to get the details of the professor, and this is the collection. So clear collect is a function in the Power Apps which will collect the data from this table and put it into a collection. So collection is nothing but a table which is storing the data. So if I come here and run on start, this will execute, and we can view the collection, the data that we are fetching from here. So yeah, so you can see this is the table, and these are the details of all the professors that we have. Now, if we go back to the application, we need to create an interface somewhat like this. So first of all, we will be creating the header. So for creating the header, we need to be into the home screen. The home screen need to be selected, and then we need to insert a label. So this label will be inserted. We just need to drag and drop, and yeah, and we need to set the text property of this label to college professors details. Right. So we have this text here, and yeah, so we have this text here, and if we convert it, like if just doing some basic designing here, and we need to fill. So these are all the properties which are available for a label type of control. So we need to set up the fill property. So yeah, so the fill we can set the property from here, and we can set it from here as well. So let me grab the color scheme that we were following real quick, and we can just add the hex code here. And I need to change the color of this font as well. From here, we can change that. Yeah. So next, I need a control which will be able to show the data into a tabular format or into a form of this. So here we need to add a gallery control here. So this is the blank flexible height gallery that I wanted to be in the application. And this gallery needs to be connected to the data, to the collection that we have collected out of the API connection. So, so for now, gallery is having this gallery is having the data out of the API connection, but it is not showing anything because we're not having any controls within this to show the further details. So let me just add another label into this gallery. Now this label is within the gallery, and so you can see that we have multiple records here. So first of all, this is currently showing the date of joining of the professor. So since let's add it to the name. Yeah. So these are all the name of the professors that we have, and this is a scrollable kind of gallery. So you can see all the names that we have here. Okay, so whenever we need to add a control or anything within a gallery, it is important to select the first element, first item of the gallery. So this is the first item, and this is how like I can drag and reduce the size. If you're selecting the whole gallery and then you are adding a component, it will not get added to there. So it's important to select this one. So after this, let us let us set the width and height of the gallery so that our UI is perfect. So from here we can set the width and height of the gallery. Right now, yeah. So now we will need to add some other design elements. So I want to add a rectangle in back just to give it a color. So for adding a component like that, select the first, item, and we need to go to this plus icon, and we need to select these rectangles. So now this rectangle is added into the each item of the gallery. If I go back to the layer system, I want this rectangle to be in the background of everything. So just go here and reorder it to send to the back. Yeah, so in every other control will be over this. So let's just change the color of this control, convert it into the bold, and maybe let's increase size a little bit. Okay, so we have this much of code ready, like the app ready with us. Now, let me just add some color components, like add the proper colors to the rectangle. So yeah, okay, let's change it back to white only, like the blue only. So now I have this in like as you can see in this application, we have this shadow format as well. So for this shadow, I've added the another rectangle from here only, and I've added it into the back and just like overlap it with the current one so that we can see a shape like a shadow kind of shape. Yeah. So I want its color to be gray. So let me just. So this is our shadow created. Now, next step is like we need to add some like on the click of this gallery item. I want the color to be something else. Like if I click on this, I want it to be something else. So for that, we have this pressed color, and all these properties are available here as well. So let me just add the color component. So now if I play the application and I press this, so you can see that we have different color to just make it interactive and better UI. So till here we have just added the name. So for adding some other details, let me just add some more labels. So this label, I want this label to be as the salary of the professors. So for whichever item that you want to display, there are many properties in the table. We just need to add this item, basically the item that is selected, and we just need to add any other like salary, or we can add name, or we can add anything like a professor ID. So anything we can add. So for now, I've added the salary. So for displaying the text, we need to add any text which is static into the double colon and anything else with the and to connect it. So it's added here. Next, like in our original app, we need to show this thumbs up or down based on what's the status of the PhD of that particular professor. So for that, let's insert icons. So we have multiple icons here. I would like to select the thumbs up and thumbs down icon. Yeah, so we have this. And we have this one. First, let us just change the color of these two. Thumbs up should be to green. This one. And this should be to red. Now, based on the conditional formatting, based on the condition of the PhD, we need to display either thumbs down or thumbs up. So first of all, I'll just arrange it. So now I want to change the visible property of this thumbs down. I want this to be visible only if the professor, like this item, dot is PhD, like if he or she is PhD, then we want to display this one. If they are not, if they are PhD, we don't want to display the thumbs down, and if they are, we want to display. Right. So since this professor is not a PhD, it's showing thumbs down. Now I'll do the similar kind of configuration with this one as well. So even on the like the visible property of this one, we'll set to this item is PhD, we want to show this one, and if not, we don't want to show it. Right. So this is created. Now our next step is to create this drop down, like we have here. So if we click on a subject, like on a professor, we get the more details about the professor. So for this, we will be using a nested gallery. So we'll nest up another gallery within this first gallery. So some important things is like, first, let's increase the size of the first item of the gallery so that we can incorporate the other one within this. And then just insert. Okay, so now the way I've inserted, yeah, so this is the another gallery within the first one. And we again need to set the items of this gallery. So for the item, we will be using a function called filter function. Basically, what is happening here is, so yeah, so this is again the same collection that we have used for this gallery, but for this like nested gallery, we just want detail of that particular professor who is selected. So who is whose nested gallery this one is. So that's why we are setting the professor ID out of this collection prof list to this item's professor ID, so that we just get the correct professor. And all of this is packed within a filter function. So for filter function, this is the so first parameter is the table, the source, and then the condition that we want the source to be filtered on. So now I will just again adjust the size of this gallery item, and we will add some controls within this so that we can see the data properly. Yeah. So I just so basically this is the first item of the first gallery, and this is the first item of the second gallery. Now let me just insert a label within this gallery. Yeah. So I want this label. Sorry. Yeah, I want this label to display the professor ID, and this will be professor's ID. Yeah. We can just adjust the size and font and everything accordingly, according to our space and the UI that we want. And so basically, I also want another like background for this one. So I'll again go to the plus icon and add a rectangle within this. So, whenever like we are developing, first it's good that we just keep the size to like we do not add the whole size, because it is necessary to know where's the boundary of the first item and where is that, and later on we can complete it. So, yeah. So this is the triangle, and let us give it another color. And also we want this rectangle to be in the back as well. Yeah. So now I want to add a heading. I want to give a heading to this. Again, I will be adding a label only. And in this label, I'll just write hard code the professor ID heading. And in the text section, in the double quotes, professor, right? And let's just decrease the size of it and bold this information. Similarly, we can add other informations like we've done here. We need to add subject, state of joining, and the rating. So I will just take this and this one and Control C and Control V it within the gallery. And again, just change the text of the labels. And it's always a good practice to name all these labels. So if we like the naming convention is like if it's a gallery, you need to take a small abbreviation of the control's name, so it's like gal and professor list. And if it's a label, then it should be lbl. And similarly, if it's a rectangle, then it should be rec, background icons for ioc. So it's good that we label these because we generally use these names a lot in the formulas. So this is subjects here. And we just need to give the subjects here for this item. Okay, I think we're not having these subjects here. Or maybe it's with some other name. Okay, so it's teachers. Yeah. And, uh, and now we again want to add you need to add the date of joining here on the side, and again just change the date of joining and date of joining. Okay, so for now the state is coming in this format. We can just simply add a function that is date value in front of this, and it will return it into a proper date format, a readable format. Okay, and next we want to insert a rating. So for the rating, we will be inserting the another label. And then we have this input control. So there are various input controls like button, text input, pen, drop down, combo box, and similarly toggle slider. There are any number of things. Similarly, we have a rating control here in the Power Apps. And this rating control takes the integer value for giving the rating. So similarly, we just need to go to the yeah, the default property, and we need to add this item dot rating. So you can see that there are different ratings for different professors. And if you want to change the color, you can just select any color which is suitable. Maybe this one. Yeah. So now we have created the drop down, but how do we, like, for now, if I play this, so it's like all of the drop downs are like displaying. So I want just the selected ones to be displayed. So we need to go to the property. Yeah. So we want this gallery to be visible only when its parent item is selected. So if I go to um, the whole gallery, this whole gallery is selected, and the visible property, we just need to add this item dot is selected property. This is selected is not something which is from the database, but it's like just a property of a gallery control that we can know which it's a Boolean property, and we can know that if this particular record is selected or not. So now we are almost done. Like you can see, since the first record was selected, it's opening. Now we can open the any record like into the form of a drop down, and you can also add another arrow here to just give it a good UI. And just now, since everything is done, we need to just reduce the size of. So this is the first item of the first gallery. Reduce its size a little bit, and this is the first item of the second gallery, and this is the second gallery as a whole. So we can just reduce the size of these items to display things properly. So yeah, we can by like different combination of controls and properties and the formulas, we can create a number of things in Canvas apps and show things in a beautiful way and in an effective manner in slow time, in less amount of time. Sami, I'm like done with this one. Handing over to Ashwarya.
Hey Diksha, thank you so much. It was really wonderful seeing those parent-child kind of thing. I mean, the professors at the top, you show something, and on click, you give an extra details, and the thumbs up and the rating control was seriously good. And really, thanks so much for that. And
Thank you.
let's give the control to Aishwarya. Let's learn something from Canvas app and Power Automate. Uh, Really looking forward for this session. Aishwarya, could you please share your screen?
Yes. My screen is visible, Swami?
Yep, it is. I am
Okay.
pulling myself out of the stream, but I'll be in the uh, backstage. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. As Humera already introduced you to the currency layer API, so I'll be showing you like how we can use this currency layer in our Canvas app. So this was the API that was fetching the all the currencies and their corresponding values from USD. Like the conversion was from USD to all other currencies. So I'll be using uh, Canvas app to demonstrate this conversion. Like so first of all, let's add the currency layer API. For adding that, we first go to data, then as it is already added for my app, it is displayed over here. If you want to add your new any API that you want to add, you go to add data, connectors, and then you can select your connector from here. The list will be displayed over here. So as I've already added it, I'm not selecting this one. Like you can select it from here. Okay, then this is the basic view of the look of my app. Like first of all, let's once go through the app. How does it look like, and then we'll see that how we have added the components and how does it actually work. So this is the preview of my app. Like when to fetch values from the currency layer API, like to like it will display all the currency names in this gallery. Okay, so I'm clicking on this. So all the currencies are displayed over here. I want to convert USD value to these currencies values. So on clicking on this arrow, like the USD value will be converted to USD AED value, right? So if you want to see conversion to some other currency, it will be displayed in this panel. So there are several number of currencies that we saw in our API, like these number of values were there. So we can select any of the currency that we want to convert from USD, and it will be displayed over here. It is a label kind of thing, and I've displayed the value over here. So navigating to the other screen, like here is a, drop down kind of thing that I have used in my app. From here we can select that from which currency we want to convert. Like here I have used USD, and to whichever other currencies we want to convert, we can select it from here. Like if we want to convert to this, we can select that value from the drop down, and on clicking the button, it will display the currency over here. It will convert it. Navigating to the other screen, like if you want only some particular currencies to be displayed, like 3 or 4, and not like your requirement for the app is such that only three currencies are required, then you can use such kind of like preview. You can add a gallery, and on fetching, it will fetch the values for you. So it is a gallery that I've used here, and these are the labels. This is the drop down. And on updating the values, it will get back to our other screen. Okay, so this is the look and feel for our app. Now let's see that how we have created this. Okay. So starting from the very basic, like first of all, I have added this label. It is a text label. Let me show you the tree view from here. Okay, so this is the text label that I have used here, and I have given a title to this, like in get exchange rate. And this one is another icon. Let me open the tree view. This is another icon that I have added from here, like insert icons, and there are several icons that you can add to your app from here. So I have used this next icon from here, this one. Okay, then these are normal labels that I've used, and I've renamed them to label 1, label 2. This was the header. Like you can directly, to whichever component you want to select, you can directly select from your tree view structure. Okay, so these are the normal labels. This is the button, and I have used an expression in this, since I wanted to fetch the values from the currency layer API on button click. So I've used this expression for that. I'll come to this, and this is a gallery that Diksha just showed you, that how we can add galleries, and this is just a simple gallery that I've used here. So this is my gallery, and this is a normal text label, and I've changed its properties from here, like I increase its font, and then I change its background color. I have even, like whichever currency we'll select, its color will also change. So for this, what I have done, we select the gallery, go to template fill, and write a if condition, like if this item, like for the gallery, if this item is selected, it will set its color to your given color, or else the normal color will be displayed. Like I have kept it white. So if all these are not selected, then it is showing simply white color, and else it is giving you this light blue color. Okay, so now let's come to this button, the expression that we have used here. Uh, Here, get currency rates. Like for this is the function that we are using for fetching the values from the API, right? So it will get the currency rates, and since our values were stored inside this quotes part, so that is why we are giving dot quotes over here, right? Then this clear collect is a function, like where whatever values we are getting back from the API, we need to store it somewhere, right? So we are storing it in a collection. Collection is a special kind of data source that is used as a local storage, a cache type of thing. Collection is there. Okay, so whatever values fetched from the API, it will be stored in the collection. Let me once show you the collection that is created once we click on the button. Uh, this is a collection, okay? So these are the values that were fetched from that API, right? So, okay. I think the page was refreshed. So that collection can store any kind of values, like it can store a record, a table, or a normal value. So we can use it like a normal cache, like whenever we are offline, then also the data is can be used from there. So this was the first function that we have used to collect our data from the API. And this expression is for like we have fetched the values, we have stored it in the collection. Now we want to display the currency names in a gallery, right? So for this, what we are doing, we are creating a variable currency names. Set is the function which is used for creating or updating any variable, right? So the data that we fetched is in the form of a collection. So just this JSON function is first converting our collection in the JSON format, text, right? A text will be formed, and then this match all. What is this function doing? It will match our currency names pattern to with this pattern. This is a regular expression that we have used. You can just have a look at this link, like regular expressions for like match all function is used for matching a certain type of pattern, right? We want to display the currency names, that is why we are matching it in the that JSON text that we have created from that function, right? So these are the different kind of patterns that are available. You can have a look from this site, like for like these are the different kind of regular expressions. Let me show you once. Just a second. So if there is no space, then you can use /s, and if you want to match multiple spaces, you can use /s plus. So these are the different kind of expressions available. You can combine these and use it according to your requirements in your app. So what I've done is like first we converted our collection to the JSON text, and then it was matching the currency names, and then after matching we are ungrouping it, and we are using distinct, so that if there are multiple currencies for the same, like if USD AAD was coming several times, so for that purpose we want distinct values to be displayed, right? So that is why we use distinct. Now it will this expression will work, and it will store it in the form of a variable. I'll show you the variable that is formed once. No, this is a collection view variables. Yeah, so was the list that this was the variable that is stored over here, right? So once we click on it, the variable is created. Now the expression that I have used for this arrow, so that the value can be converted. For this, I have used Power Automate. Like Power Automate is a little different from the Canvas apps that we are creating over here. In you can study more about Power Automate from the documentation. It is basically used for processes, to automate processes. Like if on button click, if you want to do some action, perform some action, then you can use Power Automate for that. For example, you are filling a form, and after filling that form, you want to send a confirmation that you have filled it to your manager, or the manager should know that you have filled the form, he has received it, an email should be sent to you or the manager. Then on submitting, we can use Power Automate for that purpose, that once the form is submitted, an email should be sent. So these are the kind of things for automating processes Power Automate is used. So like I have used this Power Automate function over here. Like this is my workflow name, copy of a test app to workflow. Like this is the name of my Power Automate workflow, and this is how the Power Automate looks like. Like we can create new workflows from here, and since we want to create an app for our uh, a- a workflow for our app, so Power Apps, so we are using an instant cloud flow. and there are several triggers that are available. Like if some item is there in your database, if the item is selected, then the workflow should run. Or these are different kind of triggers that are available for your flows. So here I'm using Powerapps Trigger, and I'll choose create. Plus icon, then you can add your now on button click, like some data will be sent to your Power Automate flow, right? So for that we'll use this function, like I'll show you this one. In your dynamic content, these things are available, right? uh, so that it fetches the data from your app and it displays it. So we are creating a variable over here. Like this is how you can create a variables for your workflow. So I'll initialize variable, and we can call it value 1. We can set the type of our variable, and these are the dynamic contents that is available to add for your Power Automate, right? So we want to fetch the data that was sent from the apps, right? So that you can convert that currency to the required currency. So we'll say ask in Power Apps, and then if you are, like for example, you are sending one value from your app, then you'll use it one time. If you are using multiple values, then you'll use this thing multiple times. So I'll initialize one more variable, initialize variable value 2, or we can call it even target, like the target currency that we want to convert it to, right? And we can call it source. Okay. uh, then we'll again say ask in Power Apps. So this will give you the second parameter from our app, right? Then what we are doing over here, we'll call our API using HTTP action, and here we can we want to get the data. So we'll use get method, and here we'll provide the URI. So we'll just copy it from here for now. Like this is the API that Humera showed you, like how we can create it. And so I'll just copy this one and I'll paste it here. Okay, so here you have to provide any other details if you want. Like for example, in this we were fetching all of the values, right? But if you want that only USD AED should be displayed, or only 4 values should be displayed, so for that you can provide it in the queries part, like here. But you want to convert it from USD to other currency. So this is we were converting from USD, right? So this source will contain the word USD, and this is the access key that Mira initially told you that we had created from this site. This is that access key. So we can provide all these details over here. Let me move to this workflow only, you will understand it better. So here what we are doing, we are providing the access key, we are providing the source that we want to convert from this currency to other currency, right? And this format is one that is for some format that yes we want in JSON format. So after this, what this action will do, it will fetch our data from the API, and it will give the output in the form of of JSON. So we can't directly use the JSON data in our automate workflow. So for that, what we'll do, we'll use parse JSON action to so that we can use it in our dynamic content. Like for example, after using this action, uh, your values will be displayed here, these values, and you can use them directly in your flow. So for that purpose, parse JSON is used. Here, what we do is like we take the output from our HTTP action. Like this is the was the action that we were using to fetch the API. In content, we give the body like this. We'll select this over here, and then we'll choose generate from sample, right? And then we can provide any sample data JSON over here that we want to convert, like we want to parse. So I just copied this JSON format and pasted it over here, right? So I'm not doing it right now. I have already done this part. So this will give you the parse JSON. Now I've used the second parse JSON since it was inside. This is one JSON, and this quotes is also a kind of is in JSON format. That is why I've used the second JSON over here, right? This will give you all the values that are inside your quotes kind of thing. So it will we can directly use these values in a workflow. I want the corresponding value for our currency. So what I have done is I created a variable over here. Like if you want some corresponding value, you can directly use this one, right? But you want to return the target currency. So for that purpose, what I'm doing here is I'm using the expression, like this part. uh, just a minute. So I want to return the corresponding currency value for this target, right? The value will be selected from the gallery. So that is why I've used this expression over here. uh, Inside parse JSON, it will select codes and then the USD, AAD, or any target, and it will give back the value corresponding to it. Okay, and then we are using respond to Power Apps. So I'll use this variable exchange rates that I've created over here, and it will return the rate that we want to give to our Canvas app. So let us once run this manually, like how the output looks like. So this is the like for example, you want to convert from USD, right? This was some extra field that I gave, so it doesn't matter. And now you want to convert it to the target, right? So target is USD AED, for example. Like for example, you want to convert from USD to USD AED. So I'm giving it over here and I'm running this flow. So let us see what happens. Done. The flow ran successfully. So it has taken two values, like we want to convert from USD to USD AED, right? So we are storing these values in our variables that we have created. So this source variable contains USD, this contains USD AED. Now what we are doing in HTTP, it fetch the data from the API, and it has returned these values in the form of JSON, right? And here we are parsing a JSON, okay, so that we can directly use it in the form of dynamic content. uh, I hope you are clear with dynamic content. Like we can directly click and the box that appears, from there we can add the dynamic content, right? Then after parsing JSON, like we can use our values. So here we are returning back the required currency that we want to convert to. Okay, in that expression that I specified, in that we are converting a value, and then after converting it, we are sending this variable back to our app. So this was all about Power Automate flow, and here like this is the way we can call our like run our workflow. Like when we click on this arrow, it will like this is the on select property. When this arrow is clicked, it will first what we are doing, we are setting we are creating a variable arrow, and we are putting the name of the selected item into this arrow part. Like if we are selecting USD AFN, then it will this arrow will store the text type in this, and then it will send it back to the workflow as a parameter. Okay, so this is how we are calling our workflow from here on button click. And once it is called, it will return back the converted currency, right? And that is why we are again creating a variable all rates 3. This is the name that I have given, and since this is a variable, we can use this variable over here. So in this label, I've given it as text over here, and the value that is returned back to your flow, it will be displayed over here. So this is all about this screen. So and also on regarding this icon, I've used this function navigate to screen 2. This is the name of my other screen, right? This one. This is the name of my other screen, so you can directly use navigate function to navigate between screens, right? So this is the other screen, my other screen. So I have used a drop down over here. You can directly hard code the values, or provide an array kind of thing if you have it. So here for this drop down, I've used the currency names variable that we created on the previous screen, right? Screen 1. These were the currency names, right? So I have displayed it in the form of a drop down, and we created it here. Okay, so this is the screen 2. uh, this is a simple label. This is also a label, and here I'm doing the same thing. Once my button is clicked, it will take the value from these two drop downs and send them as parameters to the workflow for the conversion to take place. So I'm calling my workflow over here. This is that function that we are using for calling. This is my first parameter, like drop down 1 selected text dot value. So this is nothing but like when you will give your drop down name over here and insert a dot, then it will automatically show you the options that are available to use with it. So I've used a selected text dot value. So whatever value we have selected in the drop down, it will be sent back to our flow. This is an extra parameter that I gave, so it is of no use. And this is the target value that we want to convert it to, right? And this is dot rates that we want the rates that should be returned. Uh, like here we give like this one. So this is the value that is returning back to the app. So this is the that is why we are using rates over here. So this is all about this function. After, as it is returning the value, we are storing it in a variable and simply displaying it in the label over here. So it is fetching the values for you. If you want to convert it to some other currency, then you can do so. Okay, so let's go to our last screen. Here you can select from which currency you want to convert, and I've hard coded it for now since my subscription supports only USD. If you want other currencies also to convert it, so you can choose your plan accordingly, right? So these are normal labels that I've used, and this is the gallery. So what I've done here is like, since it is a gallery and multiple values are returned, so I've created another flow for this. Let me go back to my flows, and this is that flow. Before returning the values, uh, like since we wanted only 4, so I provided these in my workflow. And since all 4 values we wanted to return, so I have concatenated the results using concat function and separated them by using a pipe like this separator. So what concat does, what if you have 4 values, it will put them together and return to you as a whole string, right? So I have concatenated my all the 4 currencies using this pipe operator, and then sent back to the workflow, like sent back to the app from this workflow. So since it is in the form of a whole string, the 4 values, that is why I've used a split function over here, so that it will split on the basis of this pipe and then display it in different columns, rows. Okay, so let me fetch the result. So it is displaying all the values over here. Let me once manually run this workflow also for you, so that you can see what result we are sending back. We can use recently used triggers as well. So the flow ran successfully. So here those parameters are being fetched here, like we wanted to convert from USD, and we have created a variable to store the value that was fetched. Here the same HTTP function, then here we are parsing it. Okay, and since we provided the inquiries that we wanted 4 values, so it will return you these 4 values only. Then parse JSON, so that we can use it in the dynamic content. Then this is a pipe. So here we concatenated our values. So this is the value that we are returning back to our app. So this value is being returned back, and we are directly using it, splitting it, and then showing the result in the form of a gallery. So this is all for the Canvas app and Power Automate. Like I'll just one last thing. Like earlier we used just names for displaying, right? If you want to display the rates as well, right, in another gallery, so you can do this thing. Just a minute. Yeah, so you can use your different kind of regular expressions to match a number, like here this will match with any number, then dot will say if that currency has a dot in it, then this kind of expression, these are several expressions that are available. You can check it from the documentation. So this way you can like separate your currency rates, currency names from the collection that we created initially. Remember, in that part, we created the collection. So let me just do a click once. So it will fetch all the values over here. So but since we were not able to put them together, so that is why there are several other ways of doing that, that for showing the values corresponding to the like the currency, right? So that is why we have used several other ways for conversions. But so this is it from my side. uh, Thank you, Swami. Over to you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was speaking. I was outside in the backstage and I was talking. I'm really sorry for that. And thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your help in coming up and sharing the knowledge. And one thing I liked about this session was we developed an entire solution, but each speaker did one piece. And by the end of 2 hours, we have a small mini project kind of thing, which we were able to create, and it was in live. It's not something we already did something and we said showing it. I mean, it was everything was live, and we were little scared to do this live. I know we created a backup plan. We already created those APIs, and everything is ready. Just in case it fails in the live show, we can say that hey, we already created. Go back to this. Uh, and one more thing I really want to appreciate you guys is you all three speakers are first time speakers. And I would like to go one round alphabetically. I would like to hear from Aishwarya, Diksha, and Humera alphabetically. So, Aishwarya, how did you feel this session, and any any words about this knowledge sharing session which you have started now?
Yeah, the session was good, and I was like really excited, like to like I'll be demonstrating for the first time, so the experience was good and like up to my mark.
It was
Whatever I
more
wanted to.
it was more than that Nikhil and others. We saw that,
It
and
was a it was bit
this
long, but yeah, I find I
uh,
explained like every bit of thing that I could.
right, that was good. I mean, what we discussed was just to showcase the Canvas app, but you bought Power Automate into the mix. So that was a new thing which we didn't plan, but that was really good. Thanks so much. So, Diksha, anything from your side, Diksha?
Yeah, so like since it was my first event, I was obviously nervous, but like I think I did well according to me,
You,
and
no doubt.
and yeah, I definitely gained more confidence for the future events, and of course, it was a great learning for me too.
Seriously, I mean, I think Humera was also praising you when we all saw you showcasing internal demo, the multi-grid, the parent-child gallery kind of control, and the thumbs up icon and the star rating icon. We were thrilled to see that. We said, "Hey, these were not in the mix, and you bought good design." I mean, seriously, really appreciate it, and thanks so much. Uh, Humera, anything from you?
Yeah, we really got to learn so much from each other. And the audience, right? Like, so it's inclusive of people who want to code, who don't want to code so much. So it's not like targeted only for the developers who want to code. Even for the low-code developers, this is like a really good opportunity to see how we can just go access any open APIs and start creating our own apps. So this is like a real great push to many people out there.
True. And the thing is that it's a collaborative effort, team effort. I mean, the solution which we showcased, even though I don't want to call it as a project, but a mini project, I think I can call this as a mini project because it involves SQL database, .NET 6 Web API, and the latest tooling, Visual Studio 2022, and the deployment to Azure. Now Azure is in the mix, and then the custom connectors is coming into the picture, Canvas app and Power Automate. I mean, we touched all different things, and also we showcased how to create it, everything in live. Each one of us doing a piece of this, and so really appreciate all of your help, and thank you so much for spending your weekend on this one. So thank you guys, everyone, and have a good and safe weekend. And special thanks to Rukia for posting it in LinkedIn and asking others to join and encouraging us on that. Thank you so much. See you. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.